Retro, and I am your new RWF ASMR champion of the world. And here's my shiny new belt. It just happens to look exactly like the WWE belt, just a little bit, but anyways, we're not here to talk about that, so I'll just get this out of the way. But since SummerSlam is in the air and right around the corner, and since we all have that wrestling fever and there's no cure, no vaccine yet, why don't we satisfy our wrestling urges and lusts by taking a look at his WWE comic book called WWE Superstars. And it is by Super Genius, and it was released in December 2013. This is issue number 1, of course. I think it was a 4-part series. Although I'm not sure if they made any more after that. I have the first 3 issues. Of course, I don't have the 4th. And it's also co-written by Mick Foley. There's another writer as well. And here's the cover. Not the greatest cover, but you see Triple H and Kane fighting in the ring. There's alternate covers, of course, because all comics do these days. Actually, the cool thing is on the back side, there's another version of the cover. It's the same artwork, but it has different lettering at the top, more old school. And it has this thing on the side, which a lot of old comics had. And it says over here, so Triple H versus Kane in a new series written by Mick Foley, even though Kane's not even in the issue, so this doesn't even happen, but although he is mentioned in the issue, but not even by name. But anyways, so before I get to the issue, just so you understand the background of the story, like, it's not really about wrestling, it's about this fictional city called Titan City, of course because of Titan Sports, but I believe Vince McMahon is the mayor, or he runs the city one way or another. And obviously every character is from the WWE, but they're not necessarily wrestlers, although I know at least one character, John Cena, in this comic is a former wrestler turned cop. But anyways, just so you understand. Anyways, let's just get started, I guess. Let's crack it open. And here's the alternate covers here. So this is the one I have here. Out of all these, I like this one the best, with Mark Henry on the cover. It looks like Incredible Hulk. He just like destroyed John Cena. Yeah, I think the one that I got is the worst of the covers. But it is what it is. So, okay, here we go. We start off with John Cena behind bars, looking mad and upset. And it starts off with, you can't see me, although we can very clearly see him. But so John Cena, he's in jail for some crime he didn't commit. And he says, it's interesting because I didn't catch this the first time, but he says, half the city hates me and half the city loves me. And that's kind of like referring to how in the WWE he has a lot of haters, but he has a lot of people that like him too. The first time I read that, I kind of saw that as like a Spider-Man thing, like a lot of people hated him or whatever, even though he was the hero, but I never really, for some reason, didn't connect that to, real life. So he's behind bars for some reason. So it says he was in jail for a year, but now they're releasing him. And here you see Triple H, and he asks John Cena, where's the money? And then, there's some money, $10 million, that went missing. And I guess John Cena's behind bars, maybe because they thought he stole it. He was accused of stealing it, I guess. They didn't really explain where this money came from, but not in this issue anyways. So John Cena doesn't know where it is, but they believe he does. And then Cena kind of insults Triple H by saying, are you still the game, or are you just following Daddy McMahon's orders? And it explains that Triple H is the heir apparent to the throne of Titan City, which currently McMahon is the ruler of the city. So basically, Triple H says that he arranged Cena's release in order for him to retrieve the $10 million. And if he, okay, we'll get to that in a sec. And then Cena kind of insults him again by saying, something like, "Are you just following Stephanie, or did Stephanie put you up to this?" Kind of like another real life joke, like Stephanie has the real power, blah blah blah. And Triple H doesn't like that. He says, "Don't push me." And then so they know, he's like, "We know you didn't steal the briefcase, but we know you know where it is." So he says, basically you have to find it. And he's like, "What if I don't find it?" And he's like, "Well, then you'll be back here in jail." So Cena is in a sticky situation. So now we cut to this. It's a ring, but it's basically the Apex Community Center. This new community center that's opening up, and it's run by Randy Orton, that's in there, and that's Alberto Del Rio, and that's The Miz. So The Miz is like this news reporter. He has his own show, Miz TV, and he's interviewing these two guys. So Randy Orton is kind of like a mob boss kind of guy, but he's also running for the position of DA, which is District Attorney, I think. And Del Rio's also running for that position. So I don't know why he would be there, but anyways. So they're interviewing them on the opening of this community center. So The Miz asks Orton, like, what are your thoughts on this big day? And then Del Rio just kind of interrupts and says, "My name is Alberto Del Rio, but you already knew that," which was kind of his gimmick, or one of his catchphrases. So he just goes on blabbing about, some political talk, whatever, and then all of a sudden, crack, the lights go out, and then when they come back on, you see in the ring, someone spray painted yes. So, gee, I wonder who did that. So then The Miz is like, "Do you have any, what do you have to say about, or do you have any comments on this?" And Randy's like, "No." So his response to yes is no. So then we cut to this scene here, and it's CM Punk, and he's entering this tattoo parlor, which is called the Funeral Parlor, which is pretty clever. And basically, CM Punk wants to sort of he's saying that Titan City has turned into garbage, and there's a lot of scummy people and crime and stuff like that. And he wants to clean up the corruption from people like Heyman, McMahon, Orton, Del Rio, and Wyatt. So he's doing this rally called the Take Back the Streets rally, and he wants to build up an army, kind of to fight back against the corruption. So he goes to this tattoo parlor, which is, of course, run by the Undertaker. And Taker's like, "Are you still straight edge?" And he's like, "Always." So then he asks him to join his movement to take out the trash, and Taker's like, I don't take sides. And he's like, "Fine, I'll get your brother to help," referring to Kane. And he's like, "Be careful, if you play with fire, you get burnt." So kind of warning him to watch out for Kane. And then outside we see two people. It's Luke Harper and Eric Rowan from the Wyatt family, and they're kind of watching. Looks like they're planning an ambush. And then, so now we're back in the jail, and John Cena is being let free by the warden, who's Zeb Coulter, and he has Cesaro and Jack Swagger, although they're not mentioned by name, I don't think. So anyways, he's like, you're free to go. So they're walking him out of the jail, and Cena's like, "Hey, why are they walking me through the gym area? That's not necessary." So he kind of figures, okay, they're going to give me one more beating before I go. And he's like, "Let's get this over with." And he cracks his knuckles, crack. And then behind him there's, actually, yeah, I just noticed that they were there, but it's Unico and Camacho. I don't remember Camacho or Unico. But anyways, he jumps in the ring, and he's like, "Oh, I like fighting these goons. It always feels good." He's like, bam, he gives him the shoulder tackle. I think he was just setting him up for the 5 moves of doom. But then, I guess Unico grabs him from behind, chokes him, and he says, Randy Orton says his regards. So obviously, Randy Orton ordered this beating. And Cena's like, "If you want some, come get some." And he sees this cop over here, and it's none other than Captain Christian. And they explain later that the people named him Captain Charisma as a nickname, which of course was his thing in WWE. So let's see. It says, what happened to your nose? And he's like, it was a going away present from Randy Orton, because he thinks I still have the money. And Christian's like, well, do you have the money? And let's see. He's like, Christian's like, that's $10 million, a lot of money that can change the city forever. Which I thought, $10 million, can that really change an entire city? Well, I guess in a way, if it goes towards somebody's mayoral election campaign and causes them to win, and they can change the blah blah, So then someone says, then good thing I know where we can find it. And AJ, not Styles, but AJ Lee said that. So she says, what's the matter? Don't you have a kiss for little AJ? Okay, and then we have back to Orton's office here, and he's upset that someone was managed to spray paint yes in the ring while he was on TV, and he's yelling at this guy who's supposed to be Ryback, although he looks a little bit tiny to be Ryback, but because Ryback is like his bodyguard, he works for Paul Heyman, and he's like, hey, you're not my boss, I was hired to look out for Cena anyway. And Randy Orton's like, yeah, but I paid for Paul Heyman. I pay Paul Heyman, so essentially you work for me. But anyway, he's upset, and he throws his computer or whatever that is. He wants to know who's behind the whole yes thing. And then in walks a police detective, who is Dolph Ziggler, of course. Who are you expecting? The Fashion Police. And then Randy's like, I don't need your help, blah, blah, blah. And then Randy Orton mentions that he thinks he might know who's doing the spray painting the yes stuff. And he says Danial Bryan. And then Orton's like, one more thing before you leave. And then Ryback kicks him hard, Ziggler hard in the chest, and he goes flying into the wall. So Dolph Ziggler, of course, retaliates using his police training and the usual police tactical maneuver of the zigzag. So he gives him the zigzag, boom, right through the table, crash, ECW, ECW, ECW. And then he says, you may win the DA election, but I'm the law. Follow that. So some big words coming from Ziggler. Okay, so now we got back to CM Punk walking down the street, and we see somebody come up from behind. It's Luke Harper, and boom, give him the big boot, crack. And then they, start attacking him, thud. And then he's like, I run from nobody, crack, gives him a kick to the side of the head. And then suddenly from behind, this massive hand comes out and says, need a hand. And it's the Big Show, bam, gives him a choke slam right on the ground, which should have been murder. That should have been lights out for him permanently, but he just gets up and runs away. So I guess Rowan kind of no-sold that. I guess he was thinking of his big spider, his tarantula. He's got to get home to him, he can't die. But anyway, we find out that Punk thinks Big Show's still working for McMahon, but he's like, no, I work for myself now. And he's like, I want to help you take back the city. So he wants to join his cause. So we have another ally. So on this page, we have, so Cena's in this coffee shop. Looks like he's drinking a glass of milk. And anyways, he had some kind of meeting with AJ, and she's leaving in this cab, which confused me before because I thought she was getting out of the cab to meet him there, but it makes more sense if she's leaving. And Captain Christian shows up, and he wants to know what they talked about, but Cena's doesn't want to say. And he's like, oh, you can't trust her. She's the one who testified to put you behind bars in the first place. And basically, Cena's like, yeah, I know, but I guess he has no choice or whatever. So then, look who walks in. It's Paul Heyman, Curtis Axel, and Brock Lesnar. Although they don't mention these two by name, but who else could it be? And it kind of bumps. Lesnar kind of bumps into Christian and excuse us. And Christian's like, oh my god, you're having a meeting with these clowns now. And he's like, see you, Christian. So he leaves. Christian leaves, and basically, Heyman asks Cena. He's like, "Where's my money, John?" And Cena says, "The money belongs to the city." Blah blah blah. And then eventually, they exchange some words, and then eventually, Paul Heyman's like, "Now, what do you have for me?" And meaning like, do you have any information for me about this money? And Cena's like, don't eat yellow snow, it's nasty. So that's what he had for him. So Lesnar and Curtis Axel throw the table to show them who's boss, I guess. So Heyman gives them one last warning. It's like, make sure you follow through with your what you're supposed to do or whatever. So now we're back in the Apex Community Center, and Orton is practicing in the ring with some jabroni. So I guess the character in this comic has a wrestling background as well, giving this jabroni a clothesline. And there's AJ there, so AJ I guess is working with Orton, and so basically when AJ met with Cena, she told him to meet him in this hotel later. I know that sounds like it's something for adult situations, but I don't think that's what they were going for. But basically Orton was setting him up, Cena up, to take a beating there. And AJ feels guilty. She's like, he doesn't deserve this. And then Orton's like, remember whose side you're on. And then he gives this jabroni the RKO out of nowhere. Boom. And then so it seems like, although Orton is interested in the $10 million, he's more obsessed with becoming the TA and getting power, and I guess destroying John Cena, and I guess taking over the city in a sense. So now here we cut to The Miz. I know it doesn't look like The Miz at all, but he's getting in or out of his car, I can't tell. But then he gets ambushed by Ryback. Crash. Picks him up, and oh no, it looks like he's going for the what was that move called again? The shell shock. Picks him up, and he's like, where's Danial Bryan? So he's trying to find out where Danial Bryan is, because that's what Orton told Ryback to do. And The Miz says, doesn't matter, you're too late. And he throws The Miz on, through his own windshield. Not through it, but on his windshield. Crack. Poor Miz. So then, so now we have CM Punk talking to AJ on the phone. So I guess she's kind of double-crossing Orton as well. But anyways, he tells her that Kane and the Big Show is joining them in their fight. And then she says that Randy Orton is obsessed with Cena, blah, blah, blah. And then while they're talking, look who shows up. It's The Shield. So it's Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. And Punk's like, I'm not looking for any trouble. And they basically say, do you have a permit for your Take Back the Streets rally? It'd be a shame if we have to stop it. And Punk's like, I'd like to see you try. And then they exchange some words. Obviously they're working for Vince McMahon, and basically they warn him to not do the rally. And Punk's, he says, don't do it or else. He's like, or else what? So then, the or else in this case is AJ gets kidnapped by some mysterious figure in a van. That's why you never stand that close to van doors. Never. So then, here we cut to the motel where Cena was supposed to meet AJ, but obviously AJ got kidnapped, so it's not happening. But you everything's trashed, and he knows he's probably walking into a trap, but he has no choice. So he goes up to the window there at the back, the door, slide door, whatever, and then all of a sudden, Kier or Ash, it's Mark Henry, world's strongest man, boom, just tackles him through the window. So now we see Randy Orton leaving his office, and he goes to his nice sports car here, and someone vandalized it. Yes, 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 yes. And he's like, no, 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 no. Bangs the car, and he's like, you, and he sees Danial Bryan behind him, and he's like, yes. So that's pretty clever. All the use of the no's and yeses was well done. So then, yeah, we're back at Punk here, and the Shield are kind of walking away, and they're like, be seeing you, give AJ our regards. So then he realizes, something must be wrong with AJ. He tries to talk to her on the phone, and hears hello Punk, but it's not AJ's voice, it's the Bella twins, Nikki and Brie. So they're the ones that kidnapped AJ. And they're like, remember us. And it's funny that he calls them, Punk refers to the Bella twins as, what did he say? Evil incarnate, which I thought was kind of funny. And then we're back to Randy Orton here, and he jumps off his car. It looks like he's gonna do the Superman punch. And then the final page here is Cena being tossed off the balcony of the motel, and says, adapt, overcome, never give up, and don't mess with the world's strongest man when you're 3 stories high. And that's it. I thought he was gonna say like something like adapt, overcome, never give up. But how do you overcome being tossed off a building? Or like, maybe it's time to give up. But yeah, there it is. And then it goes, there's some profiles of the characters in the comic. So it explains how Cena is a former cop, ex-cop and former world champion. Goes into details. Randy Orton, CM Punk, the Brothers of Destruction, the Authority. Hornswoggle wasn't in this, nor was the Great Khali, but he's probably in future issues. The Shield, Del Rio, Danial Bryan. Look at this picture. I don't know why they showed, like, this is Del Rio's action picture, but showed him getting kicked by Christian. It's kind of a weird picture, but anyways, Danial Bryan, the Wyatt family, Heyman, Big Show, and Mysterio, which they never mentioned him either. And then just some, like, I don't know, articles, interviews, or whatever. Mick Foley, the writer. I think he was the other writer, Shane Riches. And anyways, yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So my thoughts on this issue, it was interesting. I think the artwork was pretty good, nice. I like the coloring. In terms of the story, going back to the artwork for a second, it was, some of the characters didn't look like who they were supposed to be, particularly The Miz, and most of the time, Randy Orton didn't look like Randy Orton, but I guess it's kind of hard to depict wrestlers like that, but yeah, overall good artwork. The writing was good, I think. It was an enjoyable story. However, it's like they introduced way too many characters in the first issue. It would definitely be overwhelming for someone who doesn't know anything about wrestling. And although obviously the target audience for this issue for this comic was wrestling fans, so everyone should know who they are. But I believe a comic should be able to stand on its own, regardless if you know the history of the characters or not. funny to see. Like, I kind of wish it was actually about wrestling, not about this alternate, universe, City, fictional city. It's just funny to see these characters in other roles. Like, oh, here's Christian, he's a cop. Oh, here's Del Rio, he's a politician. Like, it's just weird to see them in other roles. But other than that, though, I think it was an enjoyable story. I don't think they made more than 4 issues, but I think I could be wrong. But yeah, maybe I'll review the other 2 that I have one day. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it relaxing, and I hope you enjoy SummerSlam and also NXT TakeOver. Don't miss that. So, anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.